If you are looking into buying cheap and safe FIFA coins, look no further than footcoinshop.net. They have the fastest service, an incredible loyalty reward system, and the best prices around. Use my creator code Inception when you sign up for your account and get a 5% discount with your order. Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the new Crossing Crusader Evo to take a look at. There's a really big thing when it comes to this Evo, and it's the fact that you don't necessarily have to have an inform David Alaba to be able to get a 93 rated version of this card, which is very interesting, right? So from the evolution selections, right, you can clearly see that it's going to be this one right here at the bottom. Where is it? It's Crossing Crusader. Here it is, right? So it's a free version of the card, and it does some pretty significant improvements for you to be able to upgrade some of these cards in a certain way, right? So with this one, you get, you get a +2 for pace, physical, shooting, as well as dribbling, and you also get a first touch playstyle, which can be pretty helpful in certain situations. But that one right there, the whipped pass, is definitely going to be a really, really big one. So if you're the type of person to use fullbacks and they're on overlap and they could potentially go for a nice little cross, whipped pass is a really, really crazy playstyle to work with. Now, in this case, it's not the plus version of it, but it would still be very, very nice to work with, right? So it's definitely going to be a really huge variable to consider when it comes to selecting these types of cards. I believe right now the rare gold version of David Alaba is actually extinct, right? So now we're in a situation where the inform version of the card is extinct, and now we have the rare gold version of the card extinct as well, because most people want to do these evolutions to be able to upgrade them properly. Because from this evolution, you can start off in Crossing Crusader, and then from Crossing Crusader, you can add them into Pep's Legacy, right? So when we go to Pep's Legacy for this version of the card, and then we compare it to the other version of the card, which... how would I be able to compare that? I don't know how to do this on Footbin, but because this one is from Crossing Crusader, and then this one is just Pep's. No, this, oh, you have to do the inform. That's what it is. So you would do this, and then you would do... oh, you can't compare unless you actually go specifically to the cards, I don't think. So it would be this one comparing to Alaba as an inform. And I can't, so I don't know how to do this from here. I think the main difference between the two is in dribbling though, right? So this one has, and the evolution for this would be like this. Right. But anyways, yeah, so you can see that there's actually two different 93 rated versions here, right? So there's this one here, which would take you to the double upgrade, and then there's the second one, which is the regular, right? So you do the Team of the Week first, Team of the Week upgrade, and Pep's Legacy afterwards, right? So that's going to be basically your other way of getting the David Alaba card that has a stat difference in a few different areas, right? So if I were to go to... let's go to like FootWiz, for instance, because I actually have no idea how to compare players like this on Footbin. So if we go to Alaba, and then we go to, so this one is the Crossing Crusader Pep's Legacy. So this one has to be the inform rated version, and then evolutions from that. Let me search that one. Okay, so the main difference between the two would be this, right? So we have 90 for dribbling, 90 for dribbling, 83, 86 is 88s. So the dribbling is improved. The dribbling is improved on the card. Defensively, it's the same thing. And then physical-wise, this one has slightly less physical compared to this one. Honestly, that's not that bad. Like, the difference between the two, like, you're getting a very, very similar card. The main difference between them is obviously some of the play styles that you're getting, right? So with this one, you have Incisive Pass Plus. No, not really. I mean, you have Dead Ball, Anticipate First Touch, Whipped Pass, Tiki Taka, 4-star, 5-star. And then this one, which is the Inform, also 4-star. Well, yeah, because of the Pep's Legacy, right? But, I mean, listen, it's just another way for you to basically get the Winter wildcard version of the card from the inform before, if you can't snipe the inform, because a lot of people actually want to get this card, right? So very interesting here. You could definitely do a comparison between the two when it comes to like pace and defending for a little bit, but yeah, that's really cool to be able to get a David Alaba card that you potentially couldn't get before, right? So it's definitely really nice. We have another one here, which is the Raneri card, right? So with Raneri, he is a 4-star, 5-star player, left-footed, medium work rates, but what's important is the play style. So he does have jockey, does have block, intercept, first touch, whipped pass, tiki-taka, incisive pass. I think a card like this, honestly, would be really clutch on... Because it looks like I would give him a shadow or an anchor. It depends, right? Anchor chemistry style would boost him at 84 acceleration, 99 for sprint speed, physical stats increased as well. You'd put him at an 88 for strength, with defensive stats increased as well. That's an interesting one. The other one that they're comparing to is the 90, which is here as well. So the 90 rated version would be from that card. Ah, I see. I see. But this one is from that card into Crossing Crusader first and then Pep's Legacy afterwards. Okay. Cool. Danilo is another one here too. So see, this is the thing, right, with the promo cards. So if you were going in like the first owner route, like for me, for instance, right, and I wanted to have some sort of like past and present FC Porto squad, if I kept the Trailblazers version of Danilo because I wanted to go in this direction, I now have a way more usable version of Danilo's card on a shadow chemistry style, right? So now he has 86 acceleration, 95 for sprint speed, 4-star weak foot on the card, medium high work rates. He has anticipate, aerial, first touch, whipped pass, long ball pass, and intercept plus. So he actually has a few different things that can definitely be really nice. He's a lengthy player as well. So this would actually be a huge W, right? So if you were to pack a first owner version of this Danilo card who actually went up in price because of this Evo, and you're working with like the Serie A links, the Juventus links, and that sort of deal, it's not too bad there. Definitely very, very solid if you want to work with that. Captavia is from Pep's Legacy, so let's go ahead and do this, right? So we'll go here. We'll go to Crossing Crusader. We'll go to the popular options, and then Alaba is obviously going to be the top one. It's not 88, it's just to show you like the best options you could potentially go with, right? But Vardiol, eh? Yeah, so what we do now is we go like this. So we go like this. We go easy, SPC, bang. Alrighty then. Let's take a look here. So Crossing Crusader. There we go. Give me those improvements. Jess Carter is a Chelsea player. Agile defensive mid. Yeah, definitely agile. Could definitely be really cool for sure. And that's from what version of the card as well? That's from the Foundations version. So for the Chelsea fans, that could be really nice to go with for sure. Ortiz. This card is a right back that plays for the Eredivisie. If you are building an Eredivisie squad, it's actually formatted very nicely. You know, you give them the shadow chemistry style. Pace will be forced out of the card because of the lengthy on a 96 acceleration, 95 for sprint speed. Defensive stats will be massively increased. And then you are working with some pretty decent physical stuff too. Okay, moving on. Sorry, I have to do some uploads, right? Alrighty then, let's see what else we got here. Neville from the rare golds. Okay, so where it gets interesting is when you start to add obviously some other evolutions, right? So let's say we were go to Karsdorp's card, right? Karsdorp, yeah. Okay, so here's a very good example of someone that you could potentially upgrade and turn into a pretty decent player, right? Because you guys know that Karsdorp has this card, right? Which is the 87 rated objectives player. When Witzel came out during that time period, I never did the review for Karsdorp in particular. But I mentioned to you guys that I would probably choose this card over the other storylines that existed during that time period because this card on a shadow is still a controlled lengthy player, right? Very well formatted with the physical, the defensive stuff, the pace is there, right? So this is an 87 rated version. This would be the 86 rated version, but you would still be getting a pretty decent card, right? So you get some pretty decent improvements from the evolutions here. You go like a rock first, Crossing Crusader afterwards, and then keeping balance, right? And you can actually have a very, very solid player in that position that has different position switches too, right? So it's really cool to be able to choose the sided players and then work with some of the evolutions that currently exist to get some very good upgrades, right? So again, you can see here that it's keeping balance as well as the crossing Crusader, right? So if we were to go here and we were to add some of these options as well, so like a rock was one, and then the other one was the keeping balance. And then what you would do is you would remove Karsdorp, and then now you could see a few different options that you could potentially go with, right? So again, this is mainly for the current evolutions that exist if you are going in the route of sentimental value, because right here, you can see a Tomiyasu card now exists, right? With a 5-star weak foot, like a rock, crossing Crusader, keeping balance afterwards, puts him at a pretty significant upgrade on the card. You have something like this with a Kalulu, who is an 86 pace player with 89 defending, 82 for physical, right? Shadow Chemistry Style, you have a card that is a controlled lengthy player with a 91 for acceleration, 97 for sprint speed, and very good defensive stats. The thing that he's lacking in would obviously be in the dribbling department, but for the main 3 stuff the card has, it's really nice, right? He's got Anticipate, Bruiser, Whipped Pass, First Touch, Block. So for people that want to go with a AC Milan link, you could totally do that, right? So you would just basically search for Kalulu. You would take these out, right? Kalulu, right? And then you would see, oh, is that his best option? Or you could technically just go into it and just check the best option up top as well, right? So there's always going to be like different options that you could potentially work with too, that you obviously always have to take a look at. We have a card like this, Hernandez, right, who obviously received this SBC, which in my opinion I personally thought was a little bit too expensive for what you were getting, right? I still believe that. He's used in my SBC accounts for player reviews because he's very convenient for that French and PSG link, but definitely not like a 300k card. You have this card now who has Crossing Crusader, Pep's Legacy, right? And compared to the SBC rated version, this would be the main difference between the two, right? So you get a little bit of a defensive improvement. The pace is a little bit lower on the card, right? But it's okay because he's usually a controlled lengthy player once you give him that Shadow Chemistry Style. So he's still formatted pretty decently, right? He's lower in the pace and physical department, right? But it's a cheaper rated version compared to the 88, right? And then obviously the main thing here is in the dribbling capabilities as well, which does get a pretty massive improvement, right? So that's from the Crossing Crusader as well as the Pep's Legacy. So to be honest with you, a card like this used in like the left center back position for like a 3-back formation could be pretty decent to work with. I've already used him in a few moments there, and yeah, he still did a pretty decent job for me. Obviously compared to, well, I'm talking about this one in particular, but this is just like not necessarily improved rated version, but like a card that's not going to cost as much for you, right? So can't go wrong if you were to go down that road as well. You can see that there's a bunch of options here too, like Reinildo. He gets, I sound like speed there for like 2 seconds. But this card is formatted very nicely for the Shadow Chemistry Style. Again, this card is an Atletico Madrid player that is a medium-high work rated player. So playstyles wise, this could definitely be an option to take a look at, right? Because first of all, Atletico Madrid is a fantastic team when it comes to link-ups, right? Players like Llorente, if you use Correa, there's always a lot of different options with Atletico Madrid players, Griezmann, right? So if you're using any sorts of players like that, getting a card like this could be ideal, right? Crossing Crusader into Pep's Legacy, you would have a card that is a very, very solid left back or center back who's more defensive oriented, but you also have a card that has brilliant play styles. Like, look at all the play styles that this card has. Like, this genuinely looks overpowered to work with from the 2 evolutions that you could potentially go with, right? And the cool thing about this card, right, is that he's near enough perfect pace. His defense is massively increased, and then he actually has some decent physical stats too, right? So, excuse me, really good improvements for a card that, you know, you want to link up with your Atletico Madrid players. You really cannot go wrong with that, right? Gomez is an option here if you go with the rare gold version into detail oriented, into Crossing Crusader. You have a pretty nice version of Gomez's card as well. Playstyles wise, this is what you would be working with: block, long throw, trickster, chip shot, first touch, as well as the whipped pass. The Thunderstruck version of this card is actually pretty decent. I have him on the first owner road to glory, but obviously I always tell you guys that as much as possible, your full your defense, your back four just needs to be as full meta as possible. And he's not full meta, but he's still pretty decent, right? The like to dislike ratio is actually very fair because he's actually a pretty solid center back in game. So if you want to go in this route because you obviously want a green card in your team, you can't go wrong with that one either. Bomba Store is from Pep's Legacy. Let's see what else we have here. So popular, all popular players. Why is it that when they go here, like Footbin has to sort this out? So if I go to popular, like, does it do this? Oh no, but it goes to Pep's Legacy. Like it goes to whatever the top one is. You see, from Crossing Crusader. Oh my goodness, why is this white? I'm blind. I'm actually blind, guys. You can't do it all at once. It's a little bit weird. Anyways, Char. Oh, Malasia. Hold on, is that your best version? Pep's Legacy? Detail oriented? Crossing Crusader would be this one. So it'd be Pep's Legacy into Crossing Crusader. You know what? This one's not bad either. For the Manchester United fans. Shadow Chemistry style. 4-star, 5-star, left-footed, medium-high work rates. Yeah, that one actually looks like a very interesting one too. Tyrell Malasia. Let's see what else we got here. Raneri, Ake gets a card too. So if you put him into Centurion center back first and then Crossing Crusader afterwards, again, you have a pretty decent card, right? Left-footed, 2-star, 3-star, medium-high. You know, Man City links is obviously going to be a key thing to work with, as well as the Dutch links, so you can't really go wrong with that either. Some of these are like for different leagues and whatnot, right? So Singgraven, obviously a Dutch player that plays in the Liga Santander. La Liga EA Sports. I will never say La Liga EA Sports. I always say Liga Santander. It's just stuck with me now. But yeah, this card's not too bad either, right? It's definitely formatted in a way where you could technically use them in any of the positions, right? Especially if you're going for the sentimental routes for some of these guys. People always have like different combinations that they can potentially work with. Like right here, my boy in the thumbnail puts Hickey as the guy on the front because obviously gets very significant improvements, right? So you can see here from Budding Starlet, Crossing Crusader, Pep's Legacy, you get a really, really huge improvement for a card that plays for Brentford, right? So let's say, for instance, you know, you wanted to use a card like this as your actual left back. It'd be okay, right? The pace would definitely be, it would have to be a little bit higher in my opinion. For like some drastic improvements, because if he was like a lengthy, then it would definitely be really nice. But obviously, again, if you're a Brentford fan, this card or this guy is probably never going to get a card in the future in any sort of promo, right? So that's like your opportunity to kind of get a card like that, right? So that's interesting, right? So Budding Starlet, Crossing Crusader, Pep's Legacy, right? So what we could do here is we go Crossing Crusader, and then we do Pep's Legacy. And then we do Budding Starlet. That's a good one to actually search, because Budding Starlet is for the ones that are the younger players, right? So they can actually have some pretty decent options to work with too. So you obviously have like some female players like this. That's okay to work with too. Bayern Munich German links there. Hickey is like the main one here. I mean, it's funny because of the name, obviously, but you know what I mean. We have a card like this that gets massive improvements, but I don't know who she is, to be honest with you. Look at this one, right? So Rodriguez Herrero is a Spanish Sevilla player who is a 4-star, 5-star player now. You could potentially give her the Shadow Chemistry style, controlled explosive player. Not poorly formatted. The pace, in my opinion, would have to be a little bit higher, but again, you can't really go wrong with that. James Justin gets some pretty significant improvements too. So it's interesting because I think Ndidi also has like an evolutions that looked decent. So this is why I try to tell you guys, man, that if you guys are going in the sentimental route nowadays, it's going to be very ideal, because right now there's so many different evolutions you could potentially work with that you have a bunch of meta options. There's not just like one or two like before, where, you know, you have to think about that a lot, because this card, I mean, take a look at him in game, right? If you were to give this card a Shadow Chemistry style, actually, no, you can keep the anchor on him to keep him on a lengthy, but you can also try him on a shadow. It really depends on what you notice the most, right? But it is a lengthy player on an anchor chemistry style, right? He gets some really significant improvements. Usability wise, it would definitely be there, because he now has a 5-star weak foot, with a 4-star skill move, right? So that's obviously very, very nice to work with. But again, always search, see what's over here, right? Guiu would definitely benefit off of a player like this. Ryan Sessegnon, who gets budding starlet into a Pep's Legacy. Let's see what else we have here. So 3 different improvements here. Crossing Crusader, budding starlet, Pep's Legacy, but this is for our Ukrainian player. There we go, Portuguese player, right? Catarina Isabel Silva. She gets some pretty significant improvements. Shadow Chemistry Style puts her in a very, very usable area with a pace in regards to defending as well, right? So some very, very good stuff there. So this is actually really cool, right? Like, look, another Portuguese player here that has incisive pass. Oh, this is Vitinha. Or not Vitinha. I forgot this guy's name. Dude, the fact that this guy is still playing has blown my mind. I think his name is Vitinha too. I think so, bro. I haven't seen this guy in a minute. Let me be the first to tell you that I have not seen him in a minute. That is crazy, dude. It's been a minute since I've seen this guy. What position changes does he have, though? Right back, center back, left wing back. The reason why I'm asking is because this card is formatted in a way to be used in the midfield more than the actual fullback position, because you give him that massive pace boost, shooting boost as well. I think his name is Vitinha too, man. I forget. He's an older player. He was like way back then, man. Like way back then. Kenny, John Joe Kenny. This guy got an SBC one time and it wasn't that crazy, but right. Shadow Chemistry. The pace is not really that high, but you could technically use that center back, right? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, always check, guys. There's always going to be like different options to work with when it comes to some of these cards. I tell you guys this all the time for the evolutions. There's going to be way more options to work with now than there has been in the past, because there's just a bunch of evolutions that you can mix and match and just get them to be at a very, very meta point, which is great, right? Crossing Crusader on this card would keep him with the block plus, obviously, but again, this card on the mostly lengthy on a Shadow Chemistry style would have really good pace to work with. Defensive stats massively increased. So I mean, if you wanted to go in that route, wouldn't be bad. Obviously, if you're going in the route of sentimental, Acuna is the main cover star over here. So he gets Crossing Crusader from an 88 rated from the 85. Rare gold version. Shadow Chemistry style would put him at a pretty decent area too, with pace and defending. High work rates, 5'8". He has a bunch of stuff to work with there too, so not too shabby. Okay, Cucurella. Does he have a better card now? Pep's Legacy is the 88, so that's detail oriented. 87, 87, 86, 87. Okay, so you can improve him to an 87 if you've never improved him before. So it put his pace in a better area. Probably still a card that you'd want to use in a different area if you start him off in the left wing back position. But yeah, definitely looks like an interesting one too if you want to go on the sentimental route. But yeah, always check out the different options, guys. Going to be very important. A lot of very, very decent meta options to work with here that gives these guys massive improvements. So yeah, W evolutions. People look at this evolutions, they're like, oh, there's nothing really to work with. Guys, you can't just look at it individually. Too many people have been doing that, right? You have to look at all the evolutions that you could be potentially adding to this card. That's the most important thing, because look, David Alaba is an 88 over here, but he's not actually an 88. You go to evolutions, 93 is the top, Crossing Crusader is one of them. You put it into Pep's Legacy, and now you don't have to worry about getting the inform version, right? So that's the important thing to look at when it comes to these cards, okay? So hopefully you guys enjoy this video today. I'll catch you guys for the next video. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.